All right, guys, it's the stream that I've been procrastinating on for I don't know how long it is. Actually, I do. Because when I first planned to do this stream, I had it as 60 days on screen time blocks, and now it has increased to 90 days. It's not a bad thing. It actually makes for a better title, because 90 days, like the whole 90 days on NoFap thing. But yeah. So I started this thing in mid-January. I basically um, started limiting the amount of time that I can spend on certain apps like YouTube. Um, and I also set up the screen time blocks such that it's very difficult for me to disable them because well, I'm an iPhone user, and the the built-in settings, it's very easy to disable, right? So, um, I'm gonna explain how I did this later in the stream, but I've been using a method to make it very difficult for me to disable the blocks, so that I just don't disable the blocks, and so I prevent myself from just accessing things like the browser. I can't watch YouTube. I can't play games after 1 a.m. So that's my current sort of hard limit on the latest that I can use my phone. And yeah, why do I need to do this? Why do I need to prevent myself from using my own device? So, let's see. Well, the main reason that I'm doing this is to um, is to improve my sleep schedule, and to make myself go to sleep not very late and get up not so late, and also to maintain a consistent sleep schedule. Because the thing is, dude, this like being addicted, quote unquote, to my phone, and just like not being able to get off the screens is it's a huge problem that I've been having since I was even like 11 or 12 years old. So like when was the last period of my life where I had a consistent sleep schedule for a long time? That was when I was 10 years old. Because look, as soon as my parents gave me a phone, I would just be secretly on it. I would be playing games, I would be browsing the web, I would be watching videos. I would just be secretly using my phone at night past my bedtime, and when my parents would, like, come upstairs and, like, I don't know, maybe check on me or something, I'll just, like, pretend to be asleep, but then as soon as they, like, walk past the room, I would just go right back on my phone, right? So, um, I've had, like, poor sleep quality, because of this, and just, like, not getting enough sleep. So, this was, like, a massive problem, um, in my last 2 years of high school. Also depression, but that's, neither here nor there. So in my last 2 years of high school, I would just go on my phone. I would go to bed at, like, maybe, like, 1 a.m., and I would go on my phone sometimes until 3, 4, or even 5 a.m. And, the school that I went to started really early. It starts at, like, 7 a.m. sharp, like 7:15. So I would go to school, and I would fall asleep in class. I wouldn't be able to concentrate. Like, my productivity was just complete shit. And I knew that this was the problem, but I just couldn't put down the phone, because yeah, I was just so addicted to it. And this continued to be a problem um, once I went to university. So in my first like basically until like mid-January of 2025, this year is when I really started to clamp down on this. But for my first like 2.5 years in college, like just like in the last 2 years of high school, sometimes I would stay up until 4 or 5 a.m. in the morning, and I would just be consuming dopamine on my phone. Um, yeah, so I knew that I had to do something about this. So I set up the screen time limits on my phone to make it so I'm just not allowed to access the web browser, and I'm not allowed to access YouTube. past 1 a.m. And like past that, the thing is that I still like allowed. I set some apps to always allow, and I still allow myself to like read books. So that's just in case. Maybe if I really can't sleep a night, I might like the only thing that I can do is like read books. So that's certainly better than watching videos at that late of an hour. So I started using these blocks at mid-January, and the thing is, like this speaks to just how like fucked my brain was because when I first set up these blocks, I didn't make it like okay, well here's for context, I'm an iPhone user as I mentioned before, and when you set up the screen time limits on an iPhone, you need to enter an email address, like the Apple account that you will use to reset the screen time. Um, and at first, I just set that email to like my regular email, and I just used my regular username and password, my main Apple account. But that made it too easy for me to disable the blocks. So I like I think it was like three or four times. I just like overrode the I just like disabled the blocks by entering the password. Like so that made that of the 90 days that I've been trying to cut down my screen time and like, you know, fix my sleep schedule, 18 of those days I cheated because I just disabled the blocks by entering my password, right? So after like the third or fourth time that I did that, I had to like desperate times call for desperate measures. So um I just what took further measures to prevent myself from like removing the blocks. So what I did was I created another Apple account just for this just for the screen time, and I made it so that I don't know the password to that Apple account, so that I can't disable the screen time even if I wanted to. Um, okay, well, I'm going to go more into detail about the method I used because it's just really hard to disable. It's not impossible for me to disable. Like the idea is not to make like something that's impossible to remove without like resetting my device. It just needs to be difficult enough for me to rather not disable it. Okay, so at first I used this website, this called Password Locker. It's password-locker.com. Not sponsored. I did not make this. Well, to be honest, I wish I made this because I'm a developer and when I see an idea like this that's really fucking simple and also really good, man, I wish I made this. Um, but guys, like check it out. It's actually really cool. So the people who made Password Locker, they came up with a system to let you set up a screen time password. So that's like the well, not the password. That's separate from like the recovery email and password. I'll get into that later. But there's a 4-digit passcode, which is like that's just like the passcode that you have to enter to get around any of these screen time blocks. So when you run out of time, let's say that you use up all of your 2 hours on YouTube for the day, it's going to come up with like a block page, right? And there's going to be a button that you can press to enter a 4-digit code in order to bypass the limit. So what Password Locker does is that they come up with this really smart system so that you can so that you can create a passcode without knowing what it is. It's actually so genius how they do it. So it's like they tell you, oh, enter a 5, enter a 6, and press delete, and enter a 9 and press delete, and enter a 0 and enter a 2, press delete, enter a 3. So they just they give you these instructions that you have to kind of like blind follow, and it allows you to like set up a 4-digit code without knowing what you typed. Like you'll not remember what you typed because the sequence of steps is just so long. That's like a really smart method. Um, um, Yeah, well, it is a, subscription-based service though, and, if you want to retrieve the passcode, like, you have to go to the website, so it requires internet access. So what I did was, I made, like, a custom solution that's inspired by Password Locker, and I'm giving a huge amount of credit to Password Locker because, it's their idea. But I just made, like, a local version that I use on my laptop. It's just like a Python script, and that just makes it so, like, I just don't want to have, like, the passcode for my screen time blocks, like, in the hands of, like, someone else's website. Like, maybe the website might go down, and then it will be impossible for me to unlock my phone. So, I made a custom solution with Python to store the passwords on my own computer. And it basically uses like the same method, except I made it so that instead of like, because what Password Locker does, I forgot to mention this earlier. It's like so they let you create a password. They let you create a passcode, and you don't know what the passcode is, but the website stores the passcode, and they let you retrieve the passcode by solving a puzzle. And it's a really tedious puzzle. Like you actually get to choose how long you want the puzzle to be, and it's like you have to count the number of times a number appears in a grid of numbers. Um, so it's just to make it really tedious so that you will not retrieve the passcode and like cheat on your screen time goals. So yeah, instead of making it like count the number of numbers in this grid of numbers, I just made it so you have to solve algebra problems to unlock the phone. So that's my method. I'm actually going to upload a tutorial video on how I coded this. Um, and yeah, actually the code is on the Turbo BP GitHub repository. So yeah, I'm gonna be posting programming projects on GitHub, like black pilled programming, you know. To yeah, at Man 23. Finally, this stream took you long enough. Man, like the thing is, bro, I'm not sure if I even did a good job on this stream so far because like I think that the way that I've explained it is it's just not very concise. It's not very coherent. Like on this stream so far, I feel like my thoughts have just kind of been all over the place. So um you know, but yeah, that's why I stream because I want to improve at speaking and communicating. So eventually I want to get to the point where I can do live streams that are just as structured and easy to understand as my regular edited videos. Um, so that's that. Okay, so I've been using screen time limits on my phone and on my laptop for the last 90 days. And these are limits like no more than 2 hours a day on YouTube, not allowed to access the internet after 1 a.m., things like that. And I set up the password, the passcode and like the recovery password stuff so that it's really difficult for me to disable the blocks, but not impossible. Um, so the main benefit of this is that I'm no longer going to sleep at like 5 a.m. in the morning. So, that allows me to get up at a, not so late time. I can get up at like 10, 11 a.m. and go to class, you know, which is good that I'm not missing like, dude, like before I implemented these blocks, some days I would miss all the classes I had for the day, even the afternoon classes, because I would wake up at like 3 p.m. in the afternoon. So yeah, that's a massive improvement. Like the sleep benefits as well, since I'm not allowed to access the internet after 1 a.m., there's no point for me to like bring my phone to bed. So most nights I just put my phone like on a table. That's not, I don't take it to bed. So that's also a good thing. Um, yeah, but like early in this like 90-day period, um, I had like insomnia and stuff. So, but because I couldn't just like watch YouTube to like, to kind of stimulate myself, as I'm struggling to sleep, I instead did other things on my phone. So I organized my photo collection, you know, um, so preventing myself from like binging dopamine. If I really, really, really can't sleep and I want to do stuff, then I'm going to do other stuff that's more productive, like reading books. So that's better as well. But as I said before in the stream, there were multiple times early in the last 90 days that I bypassed the limits by like entering my Apple ID credentials to reset the passwords, to like reset the screen time limits. So the solution I used was to make another Apple account for the recovery of the screen time, and like I encrypted the password to it. Like I basically like hid the password from myself using the same method that I'm using to hide the 4-digit code, which is like the 4-digit code is like the main. It's like the passcode that you can enter to like bypass like a specific limit, whereas like the Apple credentials is what you enter if you want to like reset the entire screen time thing. So I basically lock both of these passwords away with this like encryption method. Um, and the decryption key is the answers to algebra problems. So if I want to disable the screen time blocks or bypass any specific limit, I would have to solve math problems, and that's really annoying and tedious. So I just don't do that. For the last like I don't know 60 or so days, I have not cheated any of these limits. Like I've not like all of these screen time blocks have stayed the same for the last like 2 months. Um, okay, now three. This screenshot is really old, by the way. But let me see. When did I even make this stream? Okay, this stream self-improvement stream. That self-improvement update. I made it in mid-March. So it's been a month. It's been a month since this stream. And well, how has my like self-improvement progress been since that update stream? Um, like my academic effort, getting all my homework done on time and everything, that's pretty much stayed the same. Like I think that I'm at a pretty good place when it comes to doing all my school stuff. However, the caveat is that it's not very difficult because all 4 classes that I'm taking this semester I've taken before, because I've taken all 4 of these classes before and I failed them. So like this semester, I'm just retaking all these classes, so I already know what's in them. But I'm definitely gonna pass them this time. Now, something that has gotten worse, but it's like in the last week, stopped smoking weed, but like in like the previous month, um, in the previous month, like the first basically everything except for like the last week because I've been trying to quit. So I haven't been smoking weed for the last week, but between this stream and when I quit weed, I've really been like my cannabis consumption has really been through the roof. Like I've been like smoking multiple times a day. I would just like be high all day every day. And when I didn't smoke and or didn't take edibles, like I would just get these really shitty withdrawal symptoms. So I would have insomnia, I would have anxiety. And like, dude, it's like, well, this is not during this period, but like I think like in like January or February, I had like a fucking panic attack in class because of this. So I thought that it's about time that I quit, or at the very least take a long break from weed, because like it's just not good. Like I would like walk up a flight of stairs, and you like before I started smoking weed, it would not be a problem for me, but now, well, not now, but like right after, well, when I was using it every day, I would like walk up a flight of stairs, and I would just be totally out of breath. Like I would just be like it's just the anxiety and just like issues with energy, motivation. uh, I had some like nausea sometimes. It just started feeling like shit. So I knew that it was time to stop. And as a result of using cannabis so much, if you didn't know, like weed makes you hungry, the munchies, as they say. I've been ordering a lot of Uber Eats, so like my food delivery spending has really been really high. Um, Man, it's like I would be spending like $30 every other day just ordering Uber Eats, and it would not be healthy food either. It would be like fast food. And and actually like gained weight because of that. Like I gained like an inch on my waist, like just in the last month because of this shit. So y- you know, time to quit. But also with like showering and brushing teeth, like at the time that I did this self improvement stream, I've really been trying to be consistent with that. But over the past month, I really haven't been that consistent with it. So I need to improve that as well. Now, one thing that I have improved on is like taking out the trash. Because it used to be that I would just like let the trash can in my bedroom fill up until I have to like kind of balance the trash on top of the existing trash. Otherwise, it would just fall off of the pile. But now I just take out the trash whenever it gets full, and like I'm consistent with that. I just do it every time, so that's really cool. Um, Also, career related effort. So, since that self improvement stream, I've been putting more effort into like applying to internships. Um, yeah, so that's been an improvement. All right, so this here's like a few current bad habits I have, and I put current slash recent because I recently stopped consuming cannabis, but over the last month, I've really been using way more weed than is suitable for like productivity. So I would just like smoke weed, and then everything that I wanted to accomplish that day would just not get done because I would just like laze around and do nothing. Because weed just makes me really, really lazy, and it feels fucking good though. Like it it makes me euphoric. It makes me feel bliss. It makes me feel content with my life, even though I'm not accomplishing anything. And that's like the danger of it though. Because weed, it's not dangerous like drugs like cocaine or heroin. It's not going to kill you. Like it's not as bad for your health as those drugs are. It's certainly not as addictive as those drugs. But because it is relatively safe to use, that's actually kind of a trap because you can like use it all the time, and you'll physically you'll be fine, but you're not going to accomplish what you want in life. So that's the problem. Yeah, and as I said, like my toothbrushing frequency is still like not very consistent. I also have a problem with just skipping going to the gym, or when I go to the gym, I would only do the first exercise, and I would just skip like the other 3 exercises I had planned. The other no, not 3, like 2 exercises. 'Cause, like, uh like a year ago, I used to, like, do these long workouts. I used to plan these long workouts, I mean, but I would skip so many exercises. So now I schedule really short workouts. So I only do, like, 3 exercises per workout. But apparently that's still too fucking long for me because I'll just do the first one, and then I'll be too tired, and I'll just leave the gym, you know? So, What the fuck? Bruh, I booked a fucking like ride for because I have to go somewhere after this, but dude, yeah, I'm gonna miss it, so I'm gonna cancel that shit. Man, yeah, even ironically, even on a stream about time management, I still fucking like shit like this happens during the stream, but anyway, another thing is that I'm always tardy to classes. Cause like, dude, this history class I have that's at like noontime. I just never show up to that class on time. Like I always show up to that class like 15 minutes to half an hour late. Like, bro, I don't know what is the problem, bro. I just can't get myself to show up to that lecture on time. Um, and another thing is that it's in the recent months when I've really been starting to like when I've been starting to double down on self-improvement, I started to get really obsessive about scheduling my tasks and tracking the amount of time I spend on different things. So I'm constantly like looking at my calendar and like updating my to-do list and shit. And I you can't have too much of a good thing because it's like I started to like do that to the point where I'm spending a lot of mental energy on tracking and scheduling the tasks, which takes away from the willpower and mental energy I'm going to use to actually do the tasks. So yeah, that's not good. Hmm. You communicate much clearer than the average person, IMO. In streams, you sometimes pause longer than most people before speaking, but when you do, it is always concise and not unnecessarily wordy. Okay. Yeah, I'm glad to hear that. Some nice feedback there. Like the thing I'm concerned about is just like, yeah, it is what you said. Like, I'm glad to hear that I'm not being unnecessarily wordy, but it's really the wordiness that that I really need to work on. Ahmed says is asks, is this gonna be reposted? It's not gonna be reposted, but I'm going to keep the stream on the channel. So it's gonna be on the streams page. Turbo always repost streams, so presumably yes, yeah. Um, yeah, I want to keep the stream short because I have a place to be after this. But let me see. I have some notes of things that I wanted to talk about. Um, um, all right, all right. So here's just something I want to say about like going to class because it's for my grades, for the classes that attendance doesn't count for, it's not super important for me to go to every single lecture just to get good grades. Especially since I've taken all these classes before. I failed them before, but I'm gonna pass them this time. So I don't really need to go to every lecture, but I'm going to make an effort to go to every lecture. And why will I do that? It's not because I need it for the grades. It's because I need it to build confidence. So it sounds blue pilled, but bear with me. Because like lately, I've just been having these like thoughts. I constantly worry about not being able to keep a job. I think like, oh, even if I get a job, it's only going to be a matter of time until I get fired for not showing up, right? For not showing up to work on time, or you know, something else, right? And I realized that it's that I'm really unconfident about my own ability to show up to work on time because I don't show up to class on time. So if I can kind of, practice by going to every single lecture, even if I don't need it for the grades, that will help me build confidence so that I can feel confident that I'll be able to show up to every single like be able to show up to work on time in the workplace, right? So like because it's like, dude, if I can't even show up to class on time, how am I gonna fare in the workplace? So, first thing I'm gonna do is to like, work on my lateness issue and show up to class on time, and that's gonna make me feel a lot more confident about my abilities to be punctual in the workplace as well. And I'm not gonna be so anxious about like, oh, what if I get fired, right? Ahmed says, this is very relatable, man. I struggle with pretty much everything you say here except for the tracking part. If you do it last thing before bed, you don't really waste mental energy and plan your day ahead. Yeah, this is good advice here. And this is something that I've been trying to do like uh it's like very recently. Like I've wanted to start this like basically 2 days ago. Like planning the day ahead the night before, and even getting ready the clothes that I want to wear the following morning, the night before. Like, I want to make it so that the next morning I can wake up and everything is gonna be completely set up so that I'm not gonna use any mental energy in the morning. So I'll be off to a good start. Let me see, is there anything else I have in my notes I wanna talk about in this stream? No. Yeah, so I think yeah, that pretty much covers everything that I wanted to talk about in this stream. Okay, I will show this though. So yeah, I'm gonna be uploading. I'm this video is already in the works, but in like the next few weeks, I'll upload this video that will explain how I implemented my own version of this like password locking system. To set up a 4-digit screen time passcode without knowing what it is. And in order to know what it is, you have to solve math problems. And I use the same method that I used to store the 4-digit passcode. I use that method to store my the credentials to the second Apple accounts that I use as like the recovery email and password for the screen time. And the whole point of this is to make the screen time blocks very tedious and difficult to disable, but not impossible, right? I can solve the math problems and decrypt the passwords, and then I can disable it if I want to. But I don't want to because so far, um, what I've been doing has improved my life. It has improved the amount of things I get done in my everyday life. So still got like things that I need to work on. Still got a long way to go before I can even get to like the average dude level of like functioning. But like all I'm gonna say is like things are looking up. So yeah, and that's basically it for the stream. Um, thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you in the next video.